Mahāsīhanāda, the Middle Discourses. 12 Mahāsīhanāda Sutta, the Greater Discourse on the Lion's Roar, Part 3 4. 40. 4. By encompassing mind with mind I understand a certain person this person so behaves, so conducts himself, has taken such a path, that on the dissolution of the body, after death, he will reappear among human beings. And then later on, I see that he has reappeared among human beings, and is experiencing much pleasant feeling. Suppose there were a tree growing on even ground with thick foliage casting a deep shade. And then a man scorched and exhausted by hot weather, weary, parched, and thirsty, came by a path going in one way only and directed to that same tree. Then a man with good sight, on seeing him, would say, "This person so behaves, that he will come to the same tree." And then later on he sees that he is sitting, or lying in the shade of that tree, experiencing much pleasant feeling. So too, by encompassing mind with mind, much pleasant feeling. 76. 41. 5. By encompassing mind with mind I understand a certain person this person so behaves, so conducts himself, has taken such a path, that on the dissolution of the body, after death, he will reappear in a happy destination, in the heavenly world. And then later on, I see that he has reappeared in a happy destination, in the heavenly world, and is experiencing exclusively pleasant feelings. Suppose there were a mansion, and it had an upper chamber plastered within and without, shut off, secured by bars, with shuttered windows, and in it there was a couch spread with rugs, blankets, and sheets, with a deerskin coverlet, with a canopy as well as crimson pillows for both head and feet. And then a man scorched and exhausted by hot weather, weary, parched, and thirsty, came by a path going in one way only and directed to that same mansion. Then a man with good sight, on seeing him, would say, "This person so behaves, that he will come to the same mansion." And then later on he sees that he is sitting, or lying in that upper chamber, in that mansion, experiencing exclusively pleasant feelings. So too, by encompassing mind with mind, exclusively pleasant feelings. 42. 6. By encompassing mind with mind I understand a certain person this person so behaves, so conducts himself, has taken such a path, that by realizing for himself with direct knowledge, he here and now will enter upon and abide in the deliverance of mind and deliverance by wisdom, that are taintless with the destruction of the taints. And then later on I see that by realizing for himself with direct knowledge, he here and now enters upon and abides in the deliverance of mind and deliverance by wisdom, that are taintless with the destruction of the taints, and is experiencing exclusively pleasant feelings. Suppose there were a pond with clean, agreeable, cool water, transparent, with smooth banks, delightful, and nearby a dense wood. And then a man scorched and exhausted by hot weather, weary, parched, and thirsty, came by a path going in one way only towards that same pond. Then a man with good sight, on seeing him, would say, "This person so behaves, that he will come to the same pond." And then later on he sees that he has plunged into the pond, bathed, drunk, and relieved all his distress, fatigue, and fever, and has come out again and is sitting, or lying in the wood. 77. Experiencing exclusively pleasant feelings. So too, by encompassing mind with mind, exclusively pleasant feelings. These are the 5 destinations. 43. Sariputta, when I know and see thus, should anyone say of me, "The recluse Gautama does not have any superhuman states, any distinction in knowledge and vision worthy of the noble ones," the recluse Gautama teaches a Dhamma merely hammered out by reasoning, following his own line of inquiry, as it occurs to him, unless he abandons that assertion, and that state of mind, and relinquishes that view. Then as surely, as if he had been carried off and put there, he will wind up in hell. Just as a bhikkhu possessed of virtue, concentration, and wisdom would here and now enjoy final knowledge, so it will happen in this case, I say, that unless he abandons that assertion, and that state of mind, and relinquishes that view, then, as surely, as if he had been carried off and put there, he will wind up in hell. The Bodhisattva's austerities. 44. Sariputta, I recall having lived a holy life possessing 4 factors. I have been an ascetic, a supreme ascetic. I have been coarse, supremely coarse. I have been scrupulous, supremely scrupulous. I have been secluded, supremely secluded. 45. Such was my asceticism, Sariputta, that I went naked, rejecting conventions, licking my hands, not coming when asked, not stopping when asked. I did not accept food brought or food specially made, or an invitation to a meal. I received nothing from a pot, from a bowl, across a threshold, across a stick, across a pestle, from two eating together, from a pregnant woman, from a woman giving suck, from a woman in the midst of men, from where food was advertised to be distributed, from where a dog was waiting, from where flies were buzzing. I accepted no fish or meat, I drank no liquor, wine, or fermented brew. I kept to one house, to one morsel, I kept to 278 houses, to 2 morsels, I kept to 7 houses, to 7 morsels. I lived on 1 saucerful a day, on 2 saucerfuls a day, on 7 saucerfuls a day. I took food once a day, once every 2 days, once every 7 days. Thus even up to once every fortnight, I dwelt pursuing the practice of taking food at stated intervals. I was an eater of greens or millet, or wild rice or hide parings or moss or rice bran or rice scum or sesamum flour or grass or cow dung. I lived on forest roots and fruits, I fed on fallen fruits. I clothed myself in hemp mixed cloth, in shrouds, in refuse rags, in tree bark, in antelope hide, in strips of antelope hide, in cused grass fabric, in bark fabric, in wood shavings fabric, in head hair wool, in animal wool, in owl's wings. I was one who pulled out hair and beard, pursuing the practice of pulling out hair and beard. I was one who stood continuously, rejecting seats. I was one who squatted continuously, devoted to maintaining the squatting position. I was one who used a mattress of spikes, I made a mattress of spikes my bed. I dwelt pursuing the practice of bathing in water 3 times daily including the evening. Thus in such a variety of ways I dwelt pursuing the practice of tormenting and mortifying the body. Such was my asceticism. 46. Such was my coarseness, Sariputta, that just as the bole of a tinduka tree, accumulating over the years, cakes and flakes off, so too, dust and dirt, accumulating over the years, caked off my body and flaked off. It never occurred to me, oh, let me rub this dust and dirt off with my hand, or let another rub this dust and dirt off with his hand. It never occurred to me thus. Such was my coarseness. 47. Such was my scrupulousness, Sariputta, that I was always mindful in stepping forwards and stepping backwards. I was full of pity even in regard to a drop of water. Thus, let me not hurt the tiny creatures in the crevices of the ground. Such was my scrupulousness. 48. Such was my seclusion, Sariputta, that 79 I would plunge into some forest and dwell there. And when I saw a cowherd or a shepherd, or someone gathering grass or sticks, or a woodsman, I would flee from grove to grove, from thicket to thicket, from hollow to hollow, from hillock to hillock. Why was that? So that they should not see me, or I see them. Just as a forest-bred deer, on seeing human beings, flees from grove to grove, from thicket to thicket, from hollow to hollow, from hillock to hillock, so too, when I saw a cowherd or a shepherd, such was my seclusion. 49. I would go on all fours to the cow-pens when the cattle had gone out and the cowherd had left them, and I would feed on the dung of the young suckling calves. As long as my own excrement and urine lasted, I fed on my own excrement and urine. Such was my great practice of feeding on filth.